Hello to all of my crafting friends out there. My name is Jenna and I am back today with Muffin apparently, but a little bit of an update on my projects and just something fun that I found while I was looking through my craft stuff. So I made the mistake of sitting still, which means that Muffin decided she was going to join in on this, and this is my life. Just 2 cats and a dog. Yep. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jenna and I call myself a little bit of a craft gremlin. I don't really specialize or have a favorite craft as such, and I sort of jump between things like crochet, knitting, cross-stitching, basically anything that I can purchase a lot of at a craft store. So the other day I was having a little bit of a think about what kind of projects I wanted to work on. My first video on YouTube was actually a bit of a summary of all the projects that I had on the go. And I just felt like doing something different. So then I went into my office, also known as the craft room, also known as Madness Space, and had a little bit of a look through the drawers. So while I'm digging around in there, I find a really old cross stitch. I've always enjoyed doing cross stitch. My best friend Kirsty, she taught me to cross stitch. She also taught me how to crochet. The cross stitch that I found is an old kit that I started a long time ago. I think that it is actually probably my oldest project that I've got on the go, my oldest WIP, whatever we want to call it. And it is one of those really big kits. So it is this cabin here. So I'm not a very neat cross stitcher. I still count myself as a beginner, but this is as far as I have gotten with this. And I have been working on this at a conservative guess since 2018. Considering how big this is, do we think that's good or bad? Like, it's a long time. I know it's a long time, but come on, like, I don't have the actual pack that it came with, but I will pop a little bit of a picture up here of it because I know that you can still buy it, because I found it the other day when I was looking at Spotlight. Because in my little crafty squirrel brain, I thought, I could work on the craft that I've got, or I could buy a new one. And hello, honey chicken. So this pattern here is 2 big pages wide. So this is the pattern in its entirety. Whoop. Yep, it's gigantic. So all the stuff that's colored in green, I've come back to this a few times over the years. Like, I will work on it for a little while, put it down and pick it up in 12 months. But basically all of the areas in this like green color here, I worked on like when I first bought the thing. So that's obviously the bulk of what I've done, right? So the next time I picked it up, I then went in with the yellow, and that's what I did that time. And what I have done over the last couple of days is this like purple section here, which doesn't look like very much, but it was a lot. And because it's all sort of these bits here, it feels like I'm getting further with it quicker because it's all new things. It's not all sort of like confetti stitching, I suppose. So cross stitch is my current crafting obsession. I did make a couple of those little, I'm sure that everybody's seen them all across the internet over the last couple of weeks. The little bare face glasses trays, little holders. I made one for my mum and I made one for my partner, and all of the animals are coming out right now, which is just fabulous. There is a big window here, obviously, and Blackberry is currently moving the curtain. So cross stitch is the current focal point of craft, but that's not to say that it's the only thing I've got going on. In my finish it or frog it video a little while ago, I had a number of projects all on the go. The intention was to finish those. I did frog 1 at the time, which was a bit of a nightmare, and I just ended up getting rid of what I hadn't frogged because the yarn was just terrible. It was the Lion Brand Landscapes, which I absolutely adore, but it does not frog very well at all. So a little bit of a write-off there, but you can't see it, but that entire shelf up there in that cabinet is full of Lion Brand Landscapes. So I don't think I'm running out of it anytime soon. I did have one other project in that video that I had all the intentions of finishing, which was my first ever colorwork knitted sweater. And I actually ended up frogging it because I had only probably managed another maybe 5 rows after my first update of that on this channel. But I had a feeling that it was going to be too big. So I did do a gauge swatch, but I'm still a very new knitter. So I sort of am still struggling with things like knitting gauge and in the round and all that sort of stuff. So knitting this in the round, my tension is tighter than it is when I do a gauge swatch. So I need to learn how to do a proper gauge swatch in the round. So I need to do that before I start on something like that. I'm getting better though. So on that note, I did start another knitting project. And this is how far I've gotten in that. So this is a sweater out of Kika, Veronica Lindberg, Kutova Kika here on YouTube. Her new book, Knits to Wear. I can't quite remember the name of this particular sweater, but it is very simple in the round raglan. It's got these sort of like raglan seams here. I started this at Christmas because I was at my partner's house and I just wanted something that I could, you know, work on without really thinking too hard about. The gauge swatch for this was better, and it's also a yarn I'm a bit more familiar with. So it's this sort of chainette yarn. I can't remember quite what it's called. It's an Abbey Road yarn from Spotlight here in Australia, but I'm really happy with this, and I just sort of pick this up every now and then, or before I go to bed, I'll do a row or two. I'm on row, I think 21 or 22 of the yoke. I need to do 60 something in total before I start splitting for sleeves. So it's definitely a slow project, but that is okay. I will be very happy to actually finish a knitted sweater. Because this one, I really like this. I really like this color. I think this will be really nice for me in my office job come winter time. So I am very much looking forward to getting this one done eventually. This big cabinet behind me too, the entire bottom row, which goes all the way to this wall here, is full of yarn. Absolutely chock-a-block full of yarn. So I should not ever be buying yarn ever again, but you know, here we are. All this yarn that's in here, I wanted to use some of that in a project. So I used to do market stalls where I would sell things like amigurumi, beanies, little scarves, things like that. I've actually got over here a bunch of my crocheted lavender. So basically with that, what I've got is a lot of small skeins of various colored yarns. I don't really have a lot of what I would call project quantities of yarns. That said, I did have project quantity of one yarn, which is attached to a project. Surprise, surprise. This is the Abbey Road Freedom Cotton. It's 100% cotton. You can buy this from Spotlight here in Australia. I believe that Abbey Road is a Spotlight brand, for lack of a better term. But I have this rainbow yarn. I really like this color. It's really cute. So I bought a bunch of this a little while ago because my cousin had a baby, and I crocheted her up just a little baby blanket with it. And in typical Jenna fashion, I bought way too much because it was on a really good sale. I think it was actually better than half price at one point. So I bought a bunch of it. That said, I had so much of it left over that I had no idea what to do with it. And then I came across a good old hexagon cardigan video on TikTok of all places. So I started a hexagon cardigan. So oversized sweaters, I'm very on board with, but for cardigans, I'm not a big fan of like big balloony cardigans, which looks ridiculous considering that I'm wearing these big balloon sleeves today. But I'm not a fan of them. I don't like them when they're too long down my sides. And the thing with hexagon cardigans is they are so customizable. So what I'm actually doing with this yarn is making myself more of a cropped cardigan. There is a video here on YouTube that I'm sort of using as a little bit of a reference guide, but mostly I'm winging it. So we'll see how it turns out when I get there. But I have finished my first panel, which is this one. So this is how this Freedom cotton sort of crochets up. I have pinned or stitch marked the top across there. So that is my first panel of this. Obviously that is clearly quite short. So I will join these in the back and the arms, continue down for the sleeves. And in terms of adding length to this itself, I'll probably only add maybe a row or two to the bottom, and then some ribbing and a bit of a waist tie. I tend to wear dresses to work, including all the way through winter. So something like this that I can just sort of pop on and, you know, be nice and bright and colorful if I'm wearing a black dress or anything like that, was something that I was actually really keen to try. So they are all the big projects I sort of got on the go at the moment. A couple of things that I've sort of got in the back of my mind that I would like to work on. I have a cardigan that I've started, and I'm up to sort of like a lace pattern in it. And I've put it down because I find it a little bit too difficult, which is kind of silly and very counterintuitive. I know that if I'm going to get any better at it, I need to practice, and I will get back to it eventually. It's got its own project bag at the moment, and that's what we're going to work on. I did also find a pattern for a crochet dress the other day, which I thought was absolutely stunning, which is this one here, which is the Aviva. Yep, the Aviva top and dress. So you can make this either as a top here, or you can make it as a dress. And I believe you can make a skirt separately. So this I thought was really, really cute. As far as I'm aware, it's an Australian designer, hippiedays.com. Alana, her name is. So this one is super cute and is on the list of things to try. So the pattern for this one calls for cotton yarn being a summer sort of wearable. I am thinking that instead I will crochet this with 100% wool. And then, given that it is a very airy crocheted fabric, I am thinking I will have a crack at learning how to line the dress. So then I can have it as more of a winter dress for the office that I can wear with like tights or stockings or something. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Another thing that I'm really wanting to do, and Muffin is clearly on board with this one, is crochet a bit of a wisteria garland. So I'm sure also that everybody has seen those beautiful pictures of like a door frame where it's all crocheted wisteria and it's just absolutely stunning. I make crochet lavenders. I used to do them for markets all the time, and the crochet wisteria is the exact same thing. Like it's the exact same thing, just instead of wrapping it around a piece of floral wire, you just hang it from whatever you want to hang it from. So that's something that I think I'm going to make a little bit of a start on, maybe is like when I'm just not feeling any of my other things. But I just think it would be really pretty, you know, and we need pretty things in our lives. But all that said, my current main focus is definitely on this cross stitch. So I said to my mum actually when I got this the other day, because I started getting back into this, and I'm like, oh, you know, this is actually really fun. Maybe I should pick a smaller one so that I can, you know, actually finish something. So I jumped onto Temu and had a little bit of a look, as I am inclined to do whenever I want to try sort of something crafty. And I found a couple of different kits on there which were really cheap actually. So I'm very interested to see whether they are good quality at all. So when they arrive, I will definitely let you know. But I said to my mum, I was like, hey, for your birthday this year, would you like a completed cross stitch? And she's like, yeah, that'd be great. And she says, you're a bit ahead of yourself, aren't you? Mum's birthday's in December. And I said, no, I said, I've been working on this one for like at least probably 6 or 7 years. So no, getting 10 months of notice to try and get her a much smaller project completed is not crazy in my opinion. So what I have learned from this experience is I do really like cross stitch. I still really like crochet and knit, but I'm feeling the need to try something a little bit different for a little while. So that is where the cross stitch comes into play. I think it's probably time that I go through my craft room, my craft cupboards and things like that, and actually pull out all the different things that I've got in there. So I have some idea of what I actually have going on in my crafting area. I know for a fact that there's a whole lot of polymer clay in there from when I used to make earrings, and I know that I'm not going to go back to that. So that's something that I know that I can definitely clean out and then give that to somebody else in somewhere in Tamworth who would be interested in taking that over, because there is so much stuff in there and I'm just not going to use it, and it just feels like a waste to have it sitting in there. So I have had this on the go since roughly 2018, which I feel like is a really, 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 really long time for a cross-stitch project. But that said, I would really love to know, what is the oldest WIP that you have going on in your crafting space? If it's something that you started when you were a kid and you still never finished it, I want to know about it so I'm not the only person who is sitting on stuff that they've had for years and years and years. Yeah, it would be great. Maybe this could be your opportunity to go have a look in your own craft cupboard, find what you've got in there, and then dig out your oldest one and maybe work on that for a little while, because it could be fun. You never know. So with all of my crafty rambling, what have I learned today? I can't stop myself from starting new projects, as evidenced by the hexagon cardigan and the really nice little jumper over here. I have no self-control when it comes to anything to do with craft. I'm not sorry about that. And will I ever finish any of these? I don't know. We can try. But with all that, I will leave you all for the rest of the afternoon. It is Sunday here, so I'm about to go and do all of my meal prep for my week at work, which is a very, very exciting prospect, clearly, but it must be done. So with that, enjoy the rest of your day, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are, and I will see you all next time.